channel everyone. I'm Arpita, your host, and you're with me on my channel Candid Classroom. I really hope you're doing great, staying at home and keeping absolutely fit. Well, for quite a long time now, I was receiving requests from class 5 especially to upload few content for them. So see, here I am today. Well, your class 5 textbook of SST, which is named as Footprints, is divided under 4 categories. Okay, so you have geography, history, civics, as well as economics. Okay, so when you will be growing older and you will be going to the next subsequent steps like class 6, 7, 8, 9, it will be like that only. Okay, the segregation will be like this, and maybe you will be getting more and more content. Well, today I thought of dealing with the first chapter of civics, which deals with Indian heritage and culture. Okay, it is absolutely necessary to know our country in and out. Okay, we as Indians are extremely proud of our own culture, isn't it? Even if we go out, even if we travel long distances, we go to the western part of western part of the world, which is quite more advanced, developed, civilized, but still somewhere our root that is linked to our country, very own country India, is very much, dominant, isn't it? So we always feel very proud about the heritage and the rich culture that we have in our country. When we talk about culture, we talk about several aspects of it. Okay, we can associate several other things apart from the notable personalities who all are engaged, who all are involved with several cultural background. Okay, similarly, we also have to mention about those people who actually built the civilization from the very ancient period to the modern period. Okay, this is also to let you know, children, that the Indian history is diverse, Indian history is vast. Okay, and it is full of diversity. Well, when we read Indian history, it is basically classified under 3 different periods. Okay, the first is the ancient period, the second is the medieval period, and the third one is the modern period. The ancient period, you all know, that belongs to the civilization which formed the foundation of the Indian history. Okay, we have read about the Harappans, we have read about their civilized structure of the society, how beautiful urban civilization it was. Okay, then in the medieval period we have learned about the Mughals, the great Mughals. Okay, the Delhi Sultanate. Okay, and the several development that it had. Okay, next when we came to the modern period, dominantly we have talked about the Britishers. So as they have ruled our country over 200 years, they knew what precious gem are hidden in this country. So no wonder that they made India their colony. So first we will look into the different architectural elements, the different architecture that are diverse in their characteristics and yet so very important to shape the culture of our country. When we talk about the Harappan times in the ancient period, they actually baked bricks which were used to construct the houses. Later, Buddhist and the temple architecture introduced fine sculptures to the building. They also used spaces like caves and materials such as large rocks for construction in the construction material. So Next, we will see that in the medieval period, domes and the circular roofs over the buildings became a trademark of the Indo-Islamic architecture. So whenever the people, whoever has come to rule our country, to sit on the throne, they have modified the architectural remains to their taste and preferences. Okay, mostly we see that the different mosques that had been created, or the different monuments that are still prominent in our country, were made during either the Sultanate or the Mughal period. Okay, and as Persian was their court language, official language, we could see a dominant of Persian architecture and a tint of Indo-Islamic preference in building the different mosque and the dome-shaped buildings. So the dome-shaped buildings have all come from this particular medieval age people. They have gifted us with this set of architecture. It is their trademark. Okay, or a signature symbol, or the signature gift that we have got. Okay, next, when with the arrival of the modern period, we see that architecture in the modern period combined the older architecture traditions with British influences. So again, when the Britishers came to our country, they started making, or they started building in their own fashion, and that had also been a trademark of this particular modern age. Coming to literature now, we will see that our country had basically two different kind of literature. One was the religious literature and the other was the non-religious literature. The religious literatures were Vedas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Purana, okay, and the literature in India, evolved in different languages also. So what were the different languages? We had Sanskrit, Pali, Prakrit, Dravidian, Persian, Arabic, Urdu, Hindi, etc. So many, you see. Literary knowledge was also passed on from oral traditions in which stories, folk tales and songs were also passed on from one generation to the other through word of mouth. So we all know about our great epics, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata. We all know that we Indians can connect to these very well, with somehow they are linked to our religious beliefs. And there was also a tradition of telling these through, orally, because not all the people were highly educated, not all the people were, aware of so many languages. Okay, so they were simple people who might not understand all the languages or all the scriptures that were used. So for them, the oral traditions were very much in vogue. This is also to let you know that the other name for the Vedas were Shruti. Why? Because the Vedas used to get, chanted. The gurus used to tell the stories or the main essence of the Vedas to its disciples or the pupils, and by hearing it they used to learn the whole thing. Okay, so the oral tradition is very, very old, which is coming from the time of the Vedic era, from the time of the time of the Aryans. Okay, so it is a very old practice in our country. Thirdly, we will see the development in the language, okay, or the dialect spoken through the length and breadth of the country. We all know that India is known as the land of unity in diversity. Why so? Because we are around billion of people. They actually have so many diversities which exist not only in their religion but also in their dialect, the food they eat, the dress they wear, the customs they have, the festivals they celebrate. Okay, so in every single thing they are diverse. So a dialect is the way of speaking of language restricted to a particular area or a particular group. Each state in India has a different language, and within the state various dialects are spoken differing from region to region. So maybe the people of Asansol, Durgapur, or the people of Purulia, Bankura, they have the same Bengali language but said in a different manner than the people of Kolkata. Okay, the people of Cooch Behar or the people of Dinajpur may say the same Bengali language, but they have a different way of speaking. Okay, so within our state of West Bengal, we have so many variations. So think about all the 29 states that we are having, and what can be the diversities. So the Indian Constitution has recognized 22 scheduled language. And they are Assamese, Bengali, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Kashmiri, Konkani, Malayalam and Manipuri. So these are the official language certified and recognized by the Indian Constitution, which are being used widely in few particular states of India. If we come to painting, we will see that thousands of years ago, cave dwellers in India painted on wall caves like the cave walls to express themselves. Later, during the medieval period, fine miniature paintings were painted. These paintings are much smaller than normal paintings but were highly detailed. Okay, so we all know the period when the cave people had nothing to do but to hunt for them, to eat the fish, to eat the food that they have hunted, and to stay together. That's it. They did not know how to communicate. They did not know what is the notion of community, what we call a society. Nothing to that extent. So to express themselves, or sometimes to as a favorite pastime, they used to draw on the cave walls. But these serves as one of the very intricate, detailed information which help us even today to know that what exactly they meant through those paintings. In several parts of Madhya Pradesh, a place is called Bhimbetka. Then we have in the Ajanta Ellora caves, these paintings are found. Okay. Secondly, we can see that during the medieval period, the different painters who were very sophisticated in producing their art, especially in the time of the Mughal rulers like Babur, Akbar, Shah Jahan, they were keenly interested in different form of art. Okay, and they patronized art to some higher levels. In their court, they had several artists as well who used to draw beautiful miniatures with extreme details. Okay, they used to be very meticulous about their drawing, their features. In the modern period history, many other painting styles developed. Some of the well-known painters of the period are Raja Ravi Verma, we have Abanindranath Tagore and Amrita Shergill. So we know that we had people from different field of art and architecture, also field of literature and music, and everywhere throughout this diverse cultural background. Secondly, if we go to the aspect of music, we will see that Hindustani and Carnatic music are the main forms of classical music in India. Instruments such as tabla, sitar, flute and sharod are used while playing the classical music. So classical music has its origin from long back. Okay, so two basically important musical gharanas we had. One was the Hindustani and one was the Carnatic. So folk music is played while celebrating the harvest and major events in life such as birth and marriages. Some forms of regional music are Lotia of Rajasthan, Rasiya Geet of Uttar Pradesh, Mando of Goa and Amma Naivari of Tamil Nadu. So see how beautifully they are linked with several customs, several historic events in a person's life. Okay, so you can understand that how our people used to live together, how they used to celebrate, what they used to sing, they used to follow when they had so much of both in their important events of their lives. Next, we are coming to the dance forms. Classical dances of India follow the laws of dance laid down in an ancient book called the Natya Shastra. Okay, even this, the 7 major classical Indian dance forms where the Bharatnatyam from Tamil Nadu, you all know, and Karnataka, Kathakali, a classical dance drama from Kerala, Manipuri from Manipur, Kathak from Uttar Pradesh, Odissi from Orissa, Kuchipudi from Andhra Pradesh, Satriya from Assam. Other than these, we have many folk dances from different parts of the country. Folk dances usually celebrate happenings in life and turn of the season and the harvest. Some of them are Gidha and Bhangra from Punjab, Garba, Dandiya Ras from Gujarat, Ghumar and Nautanki from Rajasthan, and so on. It is an agriculturally dominant country where people practice agriculture widely and vastly. So whenever the harvest season used to come, they had a different song for them. Okay, because it's a time for merriment. Okay, it's a time when they can be extremely happy because they have yielded a very good crop this year. So you see, people of India were very simple from the very beginning. They used to know how to celebrate every occasions, every ceremonies, every event of their lives. So they were full of life, full of culture, full of energies everywhere. So no wonder that we Indians are so emotional, right? We are so closely bonded with our family and we know how to celebrate our lives. So today we have learned about the cultural background of our country, of India. And next day, in the second part, I will be talking about the heritage portion of it. Okay, I want you to go through the entire book for the chapter reference once, twice, thrice, till the time you understand. If you have any doubts, certainly put them into the comment section. I wait eagerly to listen from you all. Like the video, share it with your friends, and there are many children who just scroll down my videos from different parts of the world. It's a small request to them if they can subscribe to my channel and be with me and support me like this. Okay, your encouragement means a lot to me. So I'll be back with the next portion of this particular chapter very soon. Till then, take care. Bye bye.